are Confessional Magazine. I am Taywao, and this is More to the Story, brought to you today by Iris and Bo, whose toner helps keep my laugh lines in check, because you never know what our guests are going to say. Visit irisandbo.com today and use code CONFESSIONAL for 20% off. So much love in this heart of mine. Everybody, welcome to Confessional Magazine, and I'm Taylor, and I'm here today with the wonderful writer, and she's a playwright, and her name is Cathy Reinking. Thank you so much for being here today, Cathy.
Thanks for asking me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So you have a show that you wrote and is, now hopefully on its way to a big life, and it is called Lifespan of a Dog.
Yes.
And can you tell me a little bit about the show?
It's a short film, and it is basically about my life when I was 12 years old. It takes place during a few days when I was 12 years old, when my father died. So it's exploring how that affected me, and then also it's also about generational trauma getting passed down. So the character in the film, Laura, keeps having these flashbacks of these horrible things that happened, but it wasn't a life that she actually lived. So she's trying to figure out what that's about as she's mourning her father, as she's traversing being an awkward teenager, and also how the arts are her salvation.
Yeah, so I saw the little, trailer that's out on the GoFundMe for the movie, and I just loved it because it really pulls you in. She's standing in front of this, mirror, and she's starting to dance and sing, and you're like, what? It makes you just have that what question in your mind that you have to know what's going to happen next. And I know it also ties back to the Holocaust is what.
Yes, and it's kind of subtle in the way that it does, but it's definitely, my father was a refugee. He survived the Holocaust, but he couldn't survive very long in his real life. He died when I was 12 and he was 49 years old. Very, very damaged, was in hospitals, in and out of hospitals throughout my young childhood. So it was, very damaged person.
Yeah.
And so it's also about that, but it's very it just kind of brings it in a very subtle way altogether.
Yeah. So where is this being filmed?
In Florida. The actual story takes place in Palm Springs, California, because that's where we were living when my dad died. But it's going to look like Palm Springs because Gainesville, Florida has a lot of palm trees, and it's got that feel. It also takes place in the 70s. So it's got a very strong retro feel.
Which is always fun. The music can always get people into it also.
Yes, that is true. And then it takes, a lot of the story takes place in a dumpy motel because that's where we were living. When we moved to Palm Springs, we were living in this god-awful motel with, bad shag carpeting and ants in the bathroom.
Oh my goodness. What was your process in writing this? It's got to be difficult just solely based on the fact it's genuine, it's so personal to you.
Yeah, it's when they say based on a true story, this is that kind of story. I've been telling this story in different ways probably for 20 years. I have a full-length screenplay, and this is kind of an excerpt from that, but it's definitely its own animal. And I think it's more effective being the short piece versus the other, I wrote it'd be a 2-hour film, and it would just take way too much money to produce, and it traverses different continents, and it covers 70 years. It's just really complex.
Yeah.
And so this is a small piece of that, but it's a very potent small piece of that. So, like I said, I've been kind of writing this story in different configurations for a while. I also have a book on Amazon called Little Lucky Girl, which chronicles how I found out about what happened to my dad because he never talked about it when he was alive. So I knew that he had gone through the Holocaust and not really understanding exactly what that was, because the Holocaust, sometimes people think, is just about 6 million Jews died. That's kind of what you hear the most.
Hmm.
You don't hear about the men. My dad was one of these men. He was 16 when the war started, and he was recruited basically for work camps. So he survived Auschwitz, and then he went to 2 other work camps in Germany, and he was basically making bombs to destroy his own country. I mean, ridiculous. But I didn't know any of that until in the last 10 years.
Oh
So that
my
book
goodness.
on, yeah, it's quite a story. So that book on Amazon is chronicling how I found out about what happened to him.
I mean, that's like the prequel for like what is going on in this now, movie that
Yeah.
is happening. So, without giving anything away, can you tell me where the title comes from? Because I've been racking my brain on like.
Yeah, because at first Sarah was like, "Why are you calling it this? I don't get it." It's, a dog usually lives to be about 12 years old. So I basically had my father for the lifespan of a dog. Also, in Nazi Germany, if you will, and Poland, where my dad was when the war started, the Jews were called, dirty dogs or something. I mean, dog was a very derogatory comment. So,
Mhm.
so it kind of has a little bit of reverberation of that.
What's it been like for you finding out all this stuff about your dad? I mean, I can't even imagine.
I, it's I it's hard to explain because um I mean, first of all, he was just the kindest, most mild-mannered, meek man. And he didn't complain about anything. He was very sweet to me, although he had a lot of health issues, just the sweetest person. And then to find out, after, I don't know, 50 years after his death, how much torture he had to endure and how heartless is even not strong enough of a word,
Mhm.
like really what man can do to other men was so shocking and so demoralizing. And it was, I have, even though I had a lot of hardships, I don't consider myself depressed and like not able to get out of bed, and still believe in humanity. But when I first found out exactly what happened to him, it was dark. I went to a very dark place.
Yeah, I
Why
mean,
would I want to live in a world that is just so
that
heartless?
people are capable of.
Yeah. And
So,
civilized people. I mean, the German people are that's a civilized country.
mhm. I went to Germany for my honeymoon, because my husband's favorite band and my favorite band happened to be playing in Munich at the Olympic Stadium.
Hey, that's as good a reason as any.
Right. So we were like, we're going to Germany, whatever. So we took off. We went, and I feel like I owe our history respect. And I mean, like, by our history, I mean all of humanity's history, respect enough to, if I'm there and there's something there that I can learn in regards to what went on during World War II and during the Holocaust and all that, I'm gonna try and find something out. So we actually went to Dachau,
Mm.
um, on the first day of our honeymoon, and it was just like you said, it's unreal. It's
It is.
unimaginable,
And
and
thank
to
God.
be on
And
the other side of things.
and they had, because you hear about Auschwitz. Well, that's in Poland, but you hear about Dachau. You hear about, like the more famous camps. But there were thousands of these
Mhm.
camps all over Europe, especially in Germany, like just all over. And I had
Mhm.
no idea but yeah, just going onto the sites is just, uh, uh, you know, and we're
Yeah,
doing it in clean, where it's present day. So we get to drive there in a nice bus or a nice car. And,
right.
we're not being transported on these trains that they put the prisoners on, these trains with no windows, and they couldn't sit down. I mean, they were just, right up against each other. I mean, I have no idea how my dad survived any of it, because I complain if, the bathroom's dirty, like,
Right.
I mean,
Right,
our
or if
lives are
somebody
so
sits next to
easy.
you on the subway, you're
Right,
like,
right. I mean, our lives are so damn easy.
yeah. So that's why like sharing your dad's story and making this movie is just, it's really important because that's the way that, you know, we can appreciate the things that we do have and, you know, pay respect to the people that had to go through things that are something that we'll never understand.
Yeah, it's unimaginable. It's just, and I
So
don't.
how can people find out more about Lifespan of a Dog?
Well, we're raising funds to, you know, produce the short. We're on GoFundMe, so you can just I don't know, not you just go into the GoFundMe and look for Lifespan of a Dog, or my name, Cathy Reinking, or Sarah AB. And then, of course, Ashlyn Price, who you're going to interview. Ashlyn
Mhm.
basically plays me as a 12-year-old.
What was that process like finding somebody that you're like,
Uh, she fell into my lap. Her mom reached out. No, actually, I think Ashlyn was kind of stalking me on Instagram because I'm a casting director and I also teach acting. So
uh-huh.
she started stalking me, and then she reached out, and her mom reached out to ask if I would want to coach her. I'm like, sure, you know, you can hire me to coach you. And then I started working with her, and that's when I was like, wait a second, she's the right age. She's, you know, really good actress, adorable. So I was like, let me give you some scenes that I wrote and see how you do. And then that just exploded. And then they suggested Sarah AB might want to do it, and it's just it's really beyond anything I really dreamed of, that this particular story of mine would get told in this way. I mean, I have self-produced a couple of other projects, but
Hmm.
nothing that's so close to me that is actually a bit of my history.
I
So,
mean, that's just the culmination of so much work. I mean, I know anything that somebody writes is their baby. It means something to them, but this is your actual, this
yeah,
is your story, and to see
yeah,
that come to life. And so everybody needs to check out their GoFundMe for Lifespan of a Dog, because this is
yeah,
a film that needs to be done, because it's got the generational trauma that affects so many people, and it's
okay.
not talked about enough.
No, especially like in the Black community. I mean, slavery is you know, I think, you know, Jews who were in the Holocaust, and then also, you know, any Black family that was from America, that's generational trauma and genocide. Armenian. I mean, there's just endless, really, oceans of people that have suffered, you know, genocide and extermination and slavery.
Hmm.
You know, in fact, my dad was a slave, so he was, and they don't really talk about. Again, they just talk about the 6 million that were killed in the gas chambers, but my
Hmm.
dad was actually enslaved. He was in a work camp because he was a strong young man.
Yeah. I what like what kind of work was he made to do?
This is where you get into details you don't want to know, but so I mean, when I first heard this, I couldn't even function. But I've
Only
always
if you're
shocked
comfortable
now.
talking
No,
about it.
I'm comfortable, and
Okay.
it's so shocking. So before the war, my dad's family, they owned a barber shop. So and you know, they were getting to be middle class, if you will, in Poland. They had a barber shop. So my dad had the skill of cutting hair. So he was made to cut the hair, you know, like either dead bodies or just about to be dead bodies, to cut the hair off of them or shave them and save the hair. Like one of the other, I mean, there was just so many weird facts I learned going
Yeah.
to Germany twice, actually. This group invited me to come there, and they really told me a lot of facts. And one was in the camps, the Nazis, like, they saved everything. Like, they would pull people's teeth and save that, and hair, and make pillows. Like, they took every little morsel of anything and would make something else out of it. Like shoes, like I mean, just crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
Civilized country.
and it's not that long ago.
No. It's like 75, what is it, 70, a little 70 years. I mean, it's not that long ago.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why it needs to be told, because it can't, I mean, we don't need to get political or anything
Right,
like
it is.
that.
But I mean, I never could understand how anything like that could happen. And then the last few years, now I understand.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
you're going to use that's what the Germans did. They used the Jews as a scapegoat because they weren't doing well after World War I, and they were suffering financially, and they felt disenfranchised. And then a man showed up who, could rile up the crowd
Hmm.
and offer scapegoats.
Yeah.
And like I said, now oh, okay, I see how that
Which
happened
it's
now.
why, again, like why like a story like this is so important, because I mean, everyone knows the story of the Holocaust, but they know, like you said, the people that were, killed in the chambers, but
Yeah,
there is so much more torture that
yeah,
goes beyond that, and the torture that leaves you even when you're not in the camp anymore, that was brought into your life.
yeah. I mean, I definitely have always felt really outcast, never really belonging. I mean, my mom was not Jewish, but she was an immigrant too. So I'm first generation American on both sides. We didn't practice Judaism at all. My dad was baptized with me. I think that when he came to America, he just wanted to assimilate completely, so nothing
Hmm.
bad would happen to his family.
Yeah.
In the States. So I didn't never was I'm not a practicing Jew. I'm a non-Jew Jew, that's what I call it. So I'm Christian, but I just never felt like I belonged anywhere in any group. And I never quite understood that. And now I do, except for the art. So I always gravitated toward theater when I was a
Hmm.
kid. So part of this film is about, Laura, the main character, finding herself, finding her joy in musical theater. um, and the film is not like this sad, very torturous film. It's about a girl trying to survive just a bad time. And again, the Holocaust and the generational trauma is very subtle within it.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, so it's this 12-year-old girl that is just, paving her way and finding joy and
Trying to
her
find
own.
it, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
it's the journey.
Right. It's like a few days in the life of a young girl when everything goes to shit. Um,
Yeah.
so,
Well, I cannot wait to see it come to life. And I know, talking to you and talking to Sarah and, chatting back and forth with Ashlyn so far, it's just, you guys are all lovely. And the
thank you.
more I'm doing this and talking to people, I am seeing that people are put into each other's paths to make these projects come out the exact way that they're supposed to. And like, I
Yeah.
know it's got to be frustrating with time and money, but it's
Yeah.
coming, and it's coming, and it's going to be perfect because you've got a great team and it's a
We
beautiful
do.
story.
We do.
So,
Yeah. I feel really good about it. But the money is an issue. And,
mhm.
our budget is $32,000 to make the film that we want. We've only raised like, I don't know, 2,600. And really any amount it would be good. $5, $10, $5,000, however much one can give would really
Yeah.
help us.
And right now, I mean, that's what we're all stuck inside our houses still. So, I mean, the entertainment industry is what is getting us all through. And that's what people, watching this or listening to this or reading about this need to remember and remind themselves, like, reach into your pockets a little bit, because these are the people that are like bringing us joy through this crazy time that we're all living in right now. So,
True. It's true. I don't know what we do if all the actors went away and all the
yeah.
projects went away. So yeah, we want to shoot the second, like the week of March 14th. So there is an urgency to get the funds in place.
Yeah, well, hopefully this ball just keeps rolling for you, and I can't wait to just, keep me in the loop with everything that's happening, because I can't wait to see it really
Gosh,
just
thank
come
you
to life.
so much. Thank you. I really appreciate your enthusiasm and your kind heart and your joy. So thank you.
No, seriously, thank you so much, and it was an honor talking to you, and I will talk to you soon, and I wish you and lifespan of a dog all the success, and
Thank
I'll
you.
see you soon. Thanks,
Thank you.
Cathy.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
So much love in this heart of mine.